Thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of the Politics Wrap. Moving on to the story, ANC Gauteng Provincial Secretary, Mr. TK Nciza, says the party in the province is beating support. He says the Provincial Executive Council deliberated on issues that may be the cause of this loss of support. He highlighted that the Gauteng remains strategically important to the ANC, despite it being the smallest province in terms of landmass in the country. Nciza was briefing the media on the outcomes of the party's Lekgotla.
The starting point of our deliberation was an acknowledgement of reality that the ANC is bleeding support in the Gauteng province. This loss of support is a result of many factors, both internally and externally, which affliction that the ANC is broadly and Gauteng in particular. This is largely due to the dynamic geo-profile of our province, which, despite being the smallest by land mass, is the largest by population. The dynamic and the diverse population of Gauteng and industrial province, which particular challenges, makes it a especially critical province for the ANC and the future of South Africa broadly. It is on this basis that the rebuilding and strengthening of the ANC as the organization in Gauteng, both at the province and the regional level, is imperative and is necessity. The PEC has resolved to prioritize rebuilding of the organization with specific focus on the basic unit of our branch. The organization will be implementing various mechanisms to facilitate recruitment in our communities, including impactful drives and recruitment campaigns. But we also recognize that while recruitment will ensure a quantitative improvement, there is also a need to prioritize quality aspects. In this regard, the PEC also resolved to prioritize political education in the organization at the branch.
And Mr. Temikosi Nciza joins us in studio. Thank you so much for joining us in Politics Wrap.
Thank you very much for the invite and evening to your viewers.
So this past weekend, you made a brutal analysis of the elections results. Of course, you dropped to 35% in the past elections. I remember the ANC provincial chair saying that he called the party to adopt a face being wiped off from the country's political landscape. In your analysis, is this a do or die for the ANC in Gauteng?
I don't necessarily think it's a do or die. It's just an honest, and doing a serious introspection on the organization. And I think we have done that. We're from a very intense NEC, which really paved the way for us to really engage our comrades in the province, honestly. And I think the PEC was very strong in engaging and saying, how do we really move forward? So you start by accepting your faults. You start by accepting what you have done wrong. Your contribution in taking the ANC where it is, from a member, from a supporter, to leaders. And no one must say, I didn't contribute in doing this. The politics of slates, preparing most of our branches being branches of conferences, we have been contributing in making the ANC the way it is. And I'm saying we, generalizing is because I'm saying we must accept, because we're leadership. And from there we say, how do we really fix the African National Congress? One, the issue of really finding factionalism deep-rooted in the movement is a problem. And the slate politics have played a very big role in making that happen, because it doesn't mean when a person is not elected as a chair, can't be a deputy chair. But that's the type of that's what we have accepted over time. And we're saying as the PC, we need to look into that. Just on issues of leadership, you find people who've got capacity and not being elected because they were on the other slate, You can't do that. You won't build a strong organization when you do that. I'm talking from the branch moving up. You find people who understand the ANC in the branch being 20. They contest each other, the other 10 are out. Or the other 5 is out, or 15 is out. You only find 5 people in the PEC that understands the ANC. It's a problem. It's a problem. And only to find out that PEC does not become functional over time. So what you need to do is to really take The ANC serious, all of us. How do we do that? We go on the branches, we go and speak to our people. Branches will be secondary, PGMs will be secondary. We start by engaging our communities about our movement. We start reminding our people what is the African National Congress. We start a clear a program of recruitment. But we also recruit people who are in sectors, people who are going to bring serious value into the ANC. But also, we make sure that we do workshops across the province. It's a very intense program that will run for 6 months and beyond. Political education must be taken to branches. We can't have branches that are run by contract mafias, and we think we're going to have a strong organization. We have seen ourselves that we did not have enough volunteers. Of course we did, but the ANC is such that must have at least 20 volunteers per VT. We did not have that, purely because our membership is not there. The membership exists on paper. We need to improve that work. We need to make sure that we take the ANC where it belongs. So we're going to do a lot of political work from all members of the ANC. And there's a commitment from all our PC members that we have to go and do this work. If, and you have seen it now, when the ANC suffers in Gauteng, it suffers everywhere. And we need committed leaders to go and work for the African National Congress. The African National Congress is a party you need. It's a party with experience. It's a party that has been governing for some time. You can see what happens when the ANC is not in power, or where it does not have influence. The municipalities collapse across the country.
And we'll get to the issue of municipalities. Yeah. But in your self-introspection, you also concede that the electorate punished you as the ANC. Aside from the MK party factor, why else did you think that the electorate actually punished the ANC?
We started by saying we were very weak as a party. But it didn't happen now. It happened over time. There is a report that came from President Mbeki. We never wanted to listen at conference. There's another report that came from Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, who said ANC does not have structures. We didn't listen. Maybe we did. But I think now we are starting to say, how do we turn the corner? That's the first thing.
Are you starting to say how you're turning the corner because you've been humbled now?
No, of course. You must be humbled. And then you find a way of standing up. We're humbled. You see, one Keda said to me last week, the biggest challenge is with us as politicians, not necessarily as ANC, is that we don't listen to people to understand them. We listen to answer. And it hit very deep on me, because many leaders do that. They don't want to listen to people because they must then find a way of dealing with issues. You must already have an answer. We then have developed a very clear program of action, which we want our branches across the province to accept that we are on the back foot. We need each other. Just on the unity of the ANC and doing things properly and having strong branches, working like the UDF was, using sectors to mobilize society, including trade unions that have left the alliance, must be engaged. And it's our view. We'll go and engage NUMSA. We have started in the province. We will go and engage each and every. In fact, they must even come to our PC and do presentations. The branches must do the same. We must not close people outside because we believe they will come and be a threat to our power. ANC is not for us. It's for the people of South Africa. Okay. And that's why it was, it is here, yeah.
Mr. Nciza, okay, you've got 1 minute. You talked about the municipalities earlier on in our interview. Gauteng, the ANC in Gauteng now has a plan to regain control of the municipalities. You started with Johannesburg. We saw the Taramorero being elected. Ekurhuleni is in the bag. Now you're gunning for Tshwane.
Of course. The people of Tshwane have been suffering for more than 8 years. It can't be. Especially when the ANC has got more councillors than any other party. When there is no service delivery, people complain about the ANC councillors because they vote for them. We have a problem when there is no proper budget that is dealing with our townships. Our townships are in bad conditions in Tshwane. But we're not arrogant. We're engaging every party, like we've done everywhere. And we will make sure that in the next few weeks we change the conditions of people of Tshwane, because it hurts us, it hurts the ANC, but moreover, it hurts the citizens of Tshwane. And we believe that we're on the right track. We're finalizing our discussions in the next few days, and then we will be able to turn the corner for people of Tshwane and the people of Gauteng. Let me just tell you one thing. When there is no relationship between the local government, the provincial government, and national, whenever there must be an intervention that comes from national or province, it gets blocked because people are playing politics. It has happened in Tshwane, whether on issues of water, issues of waste management, and so forth. When we wanted to enter there, rather provincial government wanted to, we were blocked because it's ANC, they will want to look good. You can't have that in government. So we want to appreciate all the parties and the partners that we're working with in making sure that we service the people of Gauteng.
Okay, Mr. Nciza, thank you so much for your time. Of course, we will catch up with you, and we look forward to you saying that you're going to be regaining the city of Tshwane shortly. Of course, that was the ANC Provincial Secretary in the province of Gauteng. Moving on to the story, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula believes the party can bounce back following a major setback in the general election in KwaZulu-Natal. Mbalula was speaking on the sidelines of the National Executive Committee meeting in Durban. The NWC concluded a 2-day visit to KZN to assess the state of the organization post the election.
Courage in the face of adversity. ANC leaders remain optimistic that the party will be able to regain lost ground in KwaZulu-Natal. The party suffered its worst defeat since taking over control of the province in 2004. It lost its majority and only managed to get around 17% of the votes in the general election. Party leaders say Jacob Zuma's Umkhonto weSizwe party was a major factor in the decline of their support. They also cited service delivery challenges, dysfunctional municipalities, and branches in disarray as other reasons for their poor showing. Party Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says the party will rebuild.
The ANC will bounce back very strong. We're resolving people's issues. That's what is important. As the economy grows and we do what we said we'll do in the manifesto, that will restore the confidence of the people on the ANC.
The current leadership in the province is also under immense pressure, with calls from within for the province to be disbanded. Mbalula, however, says that's not on the table as yet.
By disbanding. There are important things that needs to be done to strengthen this province. First, with a proper understanding and a diagnosis of what actually happened in this province.
Now, political analyst Asanda Ngwasheng joins us to discuss this further. Asanda, I trust you actually listening into that conversation that we had with the ANC Provincial Secretary in Gauteng, Mr. TK Nciza, just talking about the outcomes of the PEC. You also heard the Secretary General of the ANC, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, in their visit to KZN to actually assess the party's electoral decline, as well as Mr. Nciza saying that they are humble, they're eating humble pie, and now they've decided to listen to the people of South Africa. Asanda, can you hear me?
Yes, I was listening to. I can hear you. I was listening to that interview. I found it very interesting that the ANC has discovered this amazing thing, which is the feedback that people have been giving it for a long time, that its leaders do not listen. And they finally seem to have heard the feedback that people have been giving, which is that they don't listen and they don't do as people request. They rather do what they think makes sense to them. I think, you know, it's interesting also that they didn't mention one of the biggest reasons why the ANC has lost power, which is corruption. There is a lot of widespread corruption in the ANC, both within Gauteng as well as within KZN and across South Africa. And, you know, this can and has been directly linked to the drop or the decline in the numbers that they're used to seeing, because nobody wants to vote for a government that is going to take their money and then kind of floss it in front of them while they are living without the services that they've already paid for, the services that they've already, been told were in the budget, or were told that they were going to be delivered, but they disappeared down politicians' pockets.
Asanda, can we see the ANC coming back? I just want to take you back to what Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General of the ANC, said in KwaZulu-Natal. He believes that the ANC could bounce back. Do you believe that is the case in KZN and in Gauteng and overall at a national level?
I don't think that the ANC can bounce back. I think, unfortunately, the ANC is right now like a wounded animal, and all of, the vultures and whatever other animal kind of analogies you can think of are actually swooping around it. So you'll see, if you think about it, KZN, we're already hearing that the ANC is in such dire straits that, some of these, the so-called branches of the ANC have basically gone wholesale. There's nobody left in the branch leadership. They've all gone to the MK. That is not a good sign, because you need people in the leadership who are going to bring this movement back to its former glory, or at least try and mobilize people so that come 2029, they could have a good showing. But you also remember that, when Polokwane happened, one of the first things that Jacob Zuma did was to remove the leadership that had been there when Thabo Mbeki was there and replace it with his own supporters. And so what we are seeing potentially is Jacob Zuma's people simply moving from that time with him to now the MK party. The fact that the MK party seems to also be playing musical chairs, constantly removing people, it gives people hope that if they move, they might just be able to get the seat. I mean, I don't know where they think the stability for that political party is going to come from, but the ANC really needs to look deep within itself, because I was just looking back and thinking about the case of, for instance, Zanele Kumede, who was accused of corruption in a waste scandal, and then we saw the very same person gaining leadership in the ANC, becoming the chairperson in the middle of some of the biggest floods in South Africa, which were in part caused by some of the corruption that Zandile herself was accused of. And so people don't forget things like that, and they do those calculations. Same with the ANC in Gauteng.
I just want to jump in there. We've actually got 1 minute left. I want you to weigh in on what you actually saw today. The EFF leader, Mr. Julius Malema, addressing EFF Gauteng members. A lot has been said there, saying that everything that has to do with the EFF, or the former EFF deputy president, must be dismantled. Also, he talks about the leadership change. Marshall Dlamini now being the chief whip of the EFF in Parliament, Sinawo Tambo taking Floyd Shibambu's place in Parliament.
Well, I found it very interesting, I think it's classic Malema, but it is still sad, because I thought perhaps in this moment he would find some maturity. That, Julius Malema is now basically saying anything and everything that has to do with the former deputy president will effectively be disbanded, and everyone is now going to report to his office, showing high insecurity. I mean, of course, it is to be understood, considering what has just happened. But this was a great opportunity to give other people, to show other people that trust, and he's missing that opportunity. This is a moment where he should be uniting the party, not dividing the party, telling people they can leave with Floyd if they want to, and basically not doing the work of trying to convince people that this movement that is the EFF is still worth their time, that he is behind everybody, and he will listen to the feedback that has been given that has led to Floyd Shibambu and whoever else has left leaving. But he's missed that opportunity, I think.
Asanda, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, all good things need to come to an end. I will be back on Friday, but Paul will be back with you at the top of the hour.